Hello, it's Chris Voss here from the ChrisVossShow.com, the ChrisVossShow.com. Come with a super exciting post we're going to take and share with you. This is the iPhone 5. This is the white 32 gigabyte through AT&T iPhone 5. And this is going to be a really cool unboxing. Of course, we're going to do this is September 21st, the first day of launch of the iPhone. And we're going to be getting this out to you on YouTube and the ChrisVossShow.com. So, and of course, watch for all the versus comparison videos we're going to be doing with these phones and on the Chris Voss Show channel and all that good stuff. So, let's take a look at the phone. You can see here, it's a beautiful atypical case. It's a 32 gigabyte. It's through AT&T. One of the things, of course, we like about AT&T is, unlike Verizon, you can make voice calls and still be able to download data, access the internet while you're on a call. And unfortunately, for some reason, with the new phone, they still haven't made that available on Sprint or Verizon. So we have an AT&T phone. So let's go ahead and open this up, and we'll break the packaging here. Pretty excited. I mean, how can you not be? Apple! And there it is. So let's go ahead and pull the box loose. Woo! There she is. Dun, dun, dun. Somebody play some, what's that song, Miss America? So you can see here, it's a beautiful looking device. One of the things I liked about the white devices, I looked at these devices earlier today, is the beveled edges they have that are a mirror finish, just beautiful. And then they balance well against the thin chromish, I should say, kind of a metalish outside that's there. So you can see here the device, and yeah, it's beautiful. I really love the white version. I spent some time with the black and spent some time with the white. I've actually kind of fallen in love with the white version. Let's go ahead and set this aside for now for a second. We're just going to see what's in the other box, or in the rest of the box, I should say, in the rest of the box. And of course, with this unboxing, you get your standard stuff, which is going to be your Hello Quick Start User's Guide. That's always good to have. Phone info and some stickers from Apple if you want to attach those to your different Apple devices. Now, this is what's interesting. Apple has changed their headphones for the first time in a long time. You can see these are definitely have some cool kind of new age, if you want to call it that, nouveau, whatever look to them. They also have a great wrapper they built into this, and I'll show you that in a second. We have your standard plug that usually comes with most Apple iPhones. But one thing that's changed is the cabling system. So in this cabling system, we're looking at the new USB on one side, and then of course we have the new, very small, petite, if you will, cable that's going to go into the much smaller hole on the bottom of the new iPhone 5. I actually really like this. I think this is really cool. It's really good. I like how I can stick it in to the iPhone in either position and it will still work. I think that's brilliant engineering, and I'm very happy they've made updates to their system. I know it's made a lot of people unhappy, but hey, progress and change usually does. This is their earphones, and you can see they're much more cooler design in how they do it. And they also give you this great wraparound case where you can wrap around your earphones and be able to put this container on them so they don't get all loose in your purse and stuff. So let's go ahead and open these babies up to be able to see what they look like. But this is a really cool device. We've seen this played with today at the AT&T store. You pop up this container, and of course you can put it back together, and basically you can loop this around so that your cord doesn't become all horribly tangled, as you're probably well aware most mini cords for earphones do. And it's got the plastic molding there. And you can see the earphones here. They're very beautiful looking. I think these were originally exposed early prior to the iPhone announcement that they were going to be taken and done. I can see how they could possibly be more ergonomically correct in being able to spill the sound into your ear. We'll play with them, test them, all that sort of good stuff. You, of course, have your classic up and down and ability to double click to take actions that will happen on your iPhone. And of course, the iPhone plug. Let's get down to the meat of business. What we're going to do is we're going to undress the plastic on the iPhone 5, and we're going to go ahead and undress the back. And I really, really, really love the sheen finish. In playing with the iPhones today, I'm glad the glass back is gone. Number one, it reduces the weight considerably. Number two, I don't have to worry about breaking or scarring or chipping the back glass, which I've done in my phones prior. It's got a little bit smaller camera. It's got a microphone hole there, and it's got a flash. You can see how beautiful it is. It has a mirror finish on the back, and then what it does is it does have a mirror edge, that beveled edge that's cut around it that makes it look very beautiful. You can see here we have the rocker buttons. Well, they're not rocker buttons, excuse me. They are volume up and volume down buttons and mute buttons. You can see here on the top we have your power button. On the other side we have a small nano SIM card area, and then on the bottom we have your grill for your speakers, the smaller port for plugging in, and we have an earphone jack on the bottom. I really like this design. It's very cool. So let's go ahead and turn the device on, see what happens. And of course in the front you can see there's the front facing camera now above the speaker, and there's also a microphone, or I believe it's a sensor that's right there for sensing where your face is in relation to the device. You can also see here that we of course have the classic home button. So we're going to go ahead and start this puppy up. Okay, so here you can see the bottom of the device. We have the earplug hole. We have the speakers, of course, that you can see there. We also have the new jack for syncing and, of course, charging. And you can also see the real shine that you can see with this beveled edge that it has that the iPhone 4S and 4 don't. This beautiful beveled edge that's cut at an angle gives it a great mirror finish on both sides of the device. On the top part you can see we just pretty much have a beautiful looking finished metal power button. Down the left side you can see that we have our mute button and a buttons for volume up and volume down. Now here on the right hand side you can see there's a small area for the nano SIM card, which is a smaller SIM card that's been found in other iPhones. So much smaller real estate they're putting towards that. Okay, so now let's cover some of the details of the phone. We'll get into some of the specs here and all that good stuff. It is, of course, a smartphone. Its height is 4.87 inches. Its width is 2.31 in width and 0.30 in depth. It really is the same width as the iPhone 4S and the iPhone 4. You really don't notice a difference in that. What you do notice a difference is that it is thinner than the iPhone 4 and iPhone 4S, and it actually feels more comfortable in the hand. One aspect that I feel makes it a better phone. It has a 0.30 depth to it. It's also almost a whole ounce lighter. It's 3.95 ounces, so it's lost an ounce, and it is something you really notice. When you do hold the iPhone 4 or iPhone 4S, it feels like a brick compared to when you're holding at the same time the iPhone 5. It's a huge difference of an ounce, and it's basically a reduction of about, I'd say 20-25% of its overall weight that you would have in the 4 and 4S that's been reduced. It's got a screen size of 640 by 1136 pixels, 326 ppi. The technology in it, it's got a capacitive multi-touch touchscreen. It's got battery standby time of 9.4 days, talk time on 3G of 8 hours. The capacity of the battery is a 1440 milliamp battery. It's got an A6 Apple chip in it. It's a dual core, roughly a 1000 megahertz processor. It works off of a specialized technical term called an ARM7, or V7 I should say, and basically it enables them to jam so much more stuff into the thing that they can get some of the highest speeds we're seeing out of smartphones now. In fact, it is the fastest smartphone out there. It's got built-in storage of course 16, 32, or 64 gigabytes depending upon which model you buy a phone. 8 megapixel camera. We have noticed in our testing that the camera does take much more beautiful pictures than the iPhone 4 and iPhone 4S. It's not a dramatic difference, but you can definitely tell the difference in the quality of the pictures that are being taken on the phone. Let's take a look at, it's got on the camcorder, it's 920 times 1080, which gives you 1080p. HD 30 frames per second, video calling, digital image stabilization, and it also has 1.2 megapixels front-facing camera. So that pretty much rounds it out for what's in this little baby. It's a beautifully designed device, and let's take a look some details of it, what we can get into. Now, of course, you can see it has the swipe ability to swipe left and right through your stuff. You can, of course, create folders. Doesn't have any of the widget customization that you're going to get from, say, Android, but it still has the same sort of things there. There's been some, this was launched with the iOS 6 update in the software for Apple, and it has several different enhancements which are really cool and really make the phone fun. You can see here that one of the other enhancements with the iPhone 5 is you get an extra row of icons that you normally didn't get before. So let's talk about some of the other features that go into this. Let's take a look at a speed test that we recently did, and you can see how well this works. Now, this would be a speed test that we're doing on the that we did on the AT&T network. You can see here we've turned back on the Wi-Fi, so this is going to be coming from the results log of the speed test, and this will tell you how well it did on the AT&T network. You can see here the numbers are pretty high in the 9s and 10s for when it came to download. We got really good response from it in that way, and it performed really, really well. Let's do a Geekbench test, shall we? Do a Geekbench test to see how it comes out on the score. I'm going to run a live one with you. You can see here the data here of the processor. You can see here it's an ARM v.7. It looks like it's being reported by Geekbench as 865 megahertz. We're hearing all sorts of different versions of this gigahertz. So take your pick as to which one's correct. It really depends upon how each benchmarking thing interprets it. So you can see they're even showing a memory of 1016 megabytes. So we'll go ahead and run the benchmark. You can see this activate and run. This is using the Geekbench app, an app you can get and play along with at home with your own phone, and see how it compares. Now, from all the stats we're seeing out of all the benchmarking that's out there, it's basically saying the iPhone 5 beats just about it beats all smartphones on the market. I think there's a couple where the iPad actually outbeats it, but you can see here it scores 1625 with its Geekbench score. So that's an excellent score. Most even top phones will score maybe in the 1500s if they're lucky. You can see our integer points are 1239, floating points 2073, memory 1857, stream 950, and you can see here some of the details of what the device is running, its caches, its memory, etc., etc. You can see here its integer performance and how well that went down. We'll page down some more, and you can see here the floating point performance. We'll go down some more. You can see those details there. Memory performance, and then we'll go down to stream performance. So that's how it performed with the Geekbench. Like I said, from everything we're seeing, it performs exceptionally fast, exceptionally well. Okay, so here you can see the benchmarking app that we're using is Passmark, and you can see here on the Passmark performance test, it scored 3,696, which is a really huge score. The CPU scored 24,539. The thing really rocks. Disk was 14,657, 2,481 in memory, 1529 in 2D, 1754 in 3D. These are incredible numbers if you watch other benchmarking that goes on with other phones. Just crazy fast. Okay, so here you can see we've done a browser mark score using the browser and testing it out. It scored 180,579. I think we had it coming in higher on some earlier score tests that we did, but let's go ahead and see how it compares to other phones if we can, and see what their website brings us in data. Now, like I said, we're seeing that across the board it's outpacing everything that's currently on the market for smartphones as of this time. Looks like their website's going to take a while to get us that data. Looks like we are scoring above the popular phones, the ASUS EE, Samsung Galaxy Nexus, Galaxy Tab. I'm not sure why it's not giving us more data, but there you can see it. Okay, so we've done the SunSpider JavaScript benchmarking on here, and it's being reported, of course, that it's the top of its game in all of the different scripting that's out there, especially when it comes to loading the websites on your phone. So great score and rock and roll. Now, one aspect about the phone that I really enjoy is it's super light. Before you make your decision on the iPhone 5, make sure you hold it, touch it, feel it, get a chance to see the weight of it. It may be an ounce lighter, but without the glass back that protrudes on the iPhone 4 and iPhone 4S, it feels really light. You can actually comfortably hold it like this and grip it and flip it without feeling that it's going to fall out of your hands. If you do this with the iPhone 4 or 4S, the gravity wants to throw and the glass wants to fall away from your hand and slide away. And it also does tend to slide a lot on the back with the glass with the 4 and the 4S. The steel version on the back here gives you much more grip to the phone, especially in holding it, and you feel comfortable holding it in this position. So it speaks to the lightness of the phone and to how well it feels in gripping in the hand. Like I said, it's got the same width, so it feels very comfortable, but the cool thing is it's even thinner. One thing I really like about it is it doesn't have as much of the protruding glass. There's a small thin layer of protruding glass there, but on the old iPhones for iPhone 4 and for iPhone 4S, you had huge protruding glass on both sides. Your penchant for being able to drop it and break it was pretty high. Now at least you have a better 50-50 chance of breaking it, and also you have less likelihood of chipping the ends. I actually chipped out the side of my iPhone glass, that it broke the side out and inward. And so having that giant piece of glass that you see mounted on both sides of an iPhone 4 or iPhone 4S is really cool that you don't have to deal with that anymore. I really love that aspect of the iPhone 5. The one thing you do notice, and you've seen the benchmarks of it, it's super fast. It's super fast not only in the processor speed, the operation of the OS. The other thing I love about it is it's the first iPhone to have 4G LTE in it. So if you're on a 4G network, you get rock and roll speeds. With AT&T, of course, you've seen the benchmarking speed test we did with there. It gets rocking roll speeds. So we really like that about the device. I actually almost like the white better than the black, mainly because I can see the mirror finish easier. The black tends to kind of become a blisk, if you will, which isn't bad. It's definitely cool looking, but there's probably a touch more beauty to the white phone. So it's really up to you as to what phone appeals to you the most. Okay, so let's talk the camera. The camera has a lot of cool features, but it is very simple if you're used to an Android phone. Now, the shutter speed we notice is much faster, and of course loading everything is much faster. If you've got to take a quick photo, you're going to get to it a lot faster with the iPhone 5. Now, very simple format that they have with the iPhone 5, or most of the iPhones, if you're familiar with them. You have the grid, the HDR. Now with iOS 6 on the 4S and 5, you now have a panorama version. We've used it a little bit, but I think there's still some apps that more people feel comfortable with in how they operate and how they work. There is the front and back, of course, changer. There's, of course, the switch between the photograph and the video. There's also the camera shutter button, if you will, and there's an area to get into your pictures. Let's take a look at the pictures. Now, it does take much better colored, it's an edge of better pictures over the 4 and the 4S. Most definitely. Is it distinctive enough to go out and spend $700? I don't know. You have to add up all the elements of the iPhone 5. But the pictures are definitely improved with the quality of what they put into the optics and improvement. So I really do like the pictures better on the iPhone 5. You can see here some great colors that we're looking at. Now, they've also made some improvements in how well it deals in low light. You can see here a video that we're doing in a low light scenario that comes out really well, and of course that's one of the great things. This is actually a flash photo. You almost can't tell because it lights everything up, but this is a flash photo in a low light situation. Great colors, great detail. Here's a video. We usually use the floor of my video to see how well it comes to the accuracy of color and the lines and everything. So you can see here it came out very well there. A little bit brighter than what the floor of my of my floor is, but you can see that it's much darker in this photo, but that's video for you. So it takes great, sharp, beautiful pictures, just amazing stuff. With the panorama version, of course, you have the edit ability to go up and edit. You can take out red eyes, you can take and crop, you can take and enhance the picture with colors, and you can also change and edit the photo to rotate it. In going into the panorama area, you basically click on it, and it gives you a thing where you basically move the iPhone continuously as you're going around and take photos, and it keeps track of where you're at. It's an okay panoramic app. I don't think I'd spend an extra $700 on this phone for it. It's nice to have, let's put it that way. It's not the biggest, greatest improvement I see to the iPhone 5 and the iPhone 5 system. So that's pretty much it, the rundown of it. I love it. If you have the money to blow on a phone like this, if you're on a 4S, and you feel that you have that without putting yourself in any sort of financial cause or the best thing you can do with your money at this point in time, it's definitely upgradable from an iPhone 4 to an iPhone 4S. I would spend the money personally. It's definitely a great phone for anybody who has an iPhone 4 or anything less than that, or anybody who has an Android at this point, because it's much faster and performs really well. And of course, there's people that really love the OS on the Android, which is a good OS. So anyway, I love the phone. It's great. I'm very super impressed with it. Watch for our video comparison reviews we'll be doing over the next week or two, and we're going to be comparing about 9 other phones with it. We're going to compare it with all sorts of crazy stuff. In fact, we're actually going to compare it with an iPhone 4S side by side, do a comparison video, benchmark it, really show you the difference. So be sure to check those out. I love the phone. I think it's totally worth it to move from 4S to 5. But if you're tight on money, that might not be the smartest move for you to do. If you need to break a contract to do it, that might not be the smartest move that you could do. What I actually did is I actually added a second line because I have 6 months left on my secondary contract, or my other contract, and by adding a second line, we were able to get the discounted phone and enjoy it. So there you go. There's ways around everything if you want. So be sure to check it out. Be sure to check back the chrisvossshow.com. I love the iPhone 5. I've been super impressed. I have to admit, I was very skeptical at first, but getting it in your hands makes all the difference. You really have to touch it, feel it, play with it, and rock and roll. Thanks for coming by the chrisvossshow.com. Be sure to check back often. One of the other features that I really, really do like is the Facebook integration. The Twitter, of course, integration came about with the issuance of the 4S, and that's been really nice to have, but the Facebook integration has been really huge. One downside of it is that Facebook downloads all of your contacts from Facebook onto your phone, which is very irritating. I haven't figured out a way to get around it or to get the contacts removed. Hopefully someone makes an app for that. But in the section of settings, you can go in and you can take and go into the area here where you have Twitter, Facebook. You can install your passwords, logins, and all that good stuff. And then what's really nice is when you want to send something to someone, it's much, much easier than it normally would be otherwise. I'll show you here an example of that. And they've kind of changed the way it looks and is set up. So we're going to go ahead and share this photo. You can see how it looks. They kind of have a screen that pops up now. And so here I can choose between mail, messaging. I've got my Twitter, my Facebook, and it's really nice because it pulls up the data, the photo, and I can very easily, quickly type something in and just jam it off. And if you've ever been trying to work with some of the latest Facebook apps, that thing can be a real big pain in your butt. Hopefully they get that whole situation fixed soon. One thing I do want to talk about that's new to the iOS, and this is really an iOS thing, they have added do not disturb things where you can set those up. They have privacy modes on here where you can better control what's going on. They've deepened iCloud. Let's see. There's maps on here which a lot of people have been talking about. Some people have been complaining about them because evidently it's a learned system with the maps. I use Waze on a continual basis. I don't use maps. Waze has been a great app for me for being able to do stuff. Let's see if we can't
come down to our current location here. And, I believe there's some people, they use maps to do different things. Now, you have a few different ways that you can take and do this. We'll pull back the pull there. You can do a satellite. You can also drop pin, show traffic. Now, what they've added is a feature called 3D. And the 3D version is kind of weird because it just kind of tilts it a little bit. I don't know if that's really 3D in my mind, but I don't know. Maybe it'll help you find an address easier if you're delivering a pizza or something. I don't know. So there's always that. Like I said, I use the Waze app to get anywhere I'm going. I almost never use the Maps app, so when I hear people complain about it, I just go, yeah, whatever. I don't know. Doesn't really matter to me. There is the passbook feature, of course, which is now on the iOS 6. This really isn't part of iPhone 5, but it's part of the whole system there, but where you can now integrate your different passes and cards, discount cards, all that sort of good stuff into the phone. But overall, it's a great phone. It is nice to have the bigger screen. I find I'm using it a little bit more for gaming, a little bit more for watching movies than I used to, where normally I would just go to the iPad. So it's nice to be able to see more data on your screen without having to default and go to your iPad or your tablets and devices. So really cool stuff. I like having more to be able to work with and all that good stuff.